GM. Welcome to Web3 Academy, your one trusted source to capitalize on the next big phase of the internet. Don't get caught in the hype cycle. I'm Jay Bird, joined by my co-host Kyle Reedhead, and we believe that Speculation Plus is going to change the world. That's why we're carving a path for doers to confidently build and invest in Web3.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to any Canadians that listen to us. You're listening to this, I guess it's Tuesday, so a day after Thanksgiving, but we're recording this over Thanksgiving weekend. Jay and I obviously are Canadian. The American Thanksgiving, what's that, like a month away? I don't know why we have different Thanksgivings, but whatever.
It doesn't matter. We're all giving thanks. I'm thankful for you. Everybody's thankful to be alive. Everyone's thankful for whatever crypto we have, even though the bags are low. Hey, it's all good.
Are we?
Man.
I don't think everyone's thankful for their crypto.
Sam Bankman-Fried is not thankful being in court right now.
No, he is not. But that's okay. That's a whole nother world. We're not going to touch on that today. Today we are talking about the thing that Jay believes is going to change. Well, I guess we believe are going to change the world, which is Speculation Plus. I'm not sure it's going to necessarily change the world, but probably actually. So Speculation Plus is a new concept that I've mentioned a couple times here on the podcast, but it's a term I heard used quite a bit actually at Permissionless Conference a few weeks ago. And so I've been mulling it over a lot. I keep talking about it, trying to figure out like what does it really mean and why does it really matter? And I think we have come to a few conclusions that we're going to discuss today on this podcast. And I think Speculation Plus is going to be something big for apps for their sort of growth strategy and just like their entertainment, their fun. I think we're going to see the Speculation Plus thing a lot moving forward. And so I think this is something we as those inside of the Web3 ecosystem should be aware of, whether that's, hey, this new app is out and it has Speculation Plus other things. Maybe this is a good investment, or I want to build an app. How should I do it? Speculation Plus might be a really good thing for you to be thinking about to build out the utility and things around your application. Speculation Plus, for those of you who have not heard other episodes, is basically the idea that apps can now, really because of blockchain, but I guess they can have this in other means as well. But really, it's the idea that you can have speculation, right? So the ability to invest in something that may go up or may go down. And then on the side of that, you have some sort of utility. And that utility could be whatever. It could be having fun in a game. It could be listening to music. It could be access into, a Discord. It could be content. It could be, group chats like in FriendTech. It could be many things. And so there's many ways that I can give examples of Speculation Plus being used already in Web3. If we think of NFTs, a big thing around NFTs was speculation. Unfortunately, there was not a lot of plus to go with NFTs in the early days. But I think of music NFTs, for example, right? This is a way to connect with artists, to usually get access to, events, or maybe it's their Discords or different things. Sometimes it's drops for merch, etc. But then also you, not only do you own that, let's call it like a membership or a fan tool, some sort of loyalty type thing, but then you can speculate on that. Maybe a bunch of people want that and the price of that thing goes up. That is Speculation Plus some form of utility. We see it in music NFTs. We see it in content NFTs, like podcast NFTs and even newsletter NFTs, for example. We're going to show you some in the coming weeks with something we're doing. There's a lot of examples of it with NFTs, absolutely. But outside of NFTs, you have things like FriendTech, right? This is speculation in terms of buying a key. And then there is the utility side of getting access into a chat, right? So access into a chat is normal. We have Telegram groups, we have, Twitter, and the big key differentiator of what FriendTech has done versus any of them, which they have a way to pay. They paywall things just like what FriendTech has done. The difference is the thing you're buying, you also speculate on it. You could win or you could lose on that thing. When you pay for paywalled content on Twitter, you pay, let's say it's $18 or whatever, and that's it. You have no way of getting that $18 back. You just lose it essentially, but you gain utility. What Speculation Plus is you pay that thing, you get the utility, and then you may lose it, which whatever, that's what you got in Web 2, or you might get it back the same amount you put in, or you might get even more, which is a whole different scenario. And so anyway, that's my sort of like quick sort of rundown of Speculation Plus for now.
Yeah, so just to make it crystal clear for everybody, Speculation Plus really means speculation plus utility. The reason the term is being used as Speculation Plus is before it was just utility. That's all any app, any digital asset, well, there wasn't digital assets before blockchain, but any app was just utility before, whereas now we have speculation. And I think that like,
and hold on, the other reason that there's speculation plus is because most things in crypto were just speculation with no utility. And now we have the combination of the two. I think that's the key differentiator.
what's interesting for, and this is where I think anybody who's been listening for us to Web3 Academy for a long time knows that, both Kyle and I, we're big utility maxis, right? Like we're not about meme coins. We're not here. I mean, we told everybody here not to buy Pepe. Sorry, it actually did pretty well after we told you not to buy it, but then it actually crashed back down. So it all works out in the end. But we're not talking about shitcoins in this podcast. We're not the speculators. We are the business builders that are here for the long term. They're trying to teach you about how to use this tech for bigger things. But I think what is wild is being, 250 plus podcasts in, here's Kai and I saying, you know what? Maybe speculation's not such a bad thing after
Buddy,
all.
I'm becoming a bit of a speculation maxi. Actually, no, I'm a speculation.
What?
Maxi. Let's go speculation plus maxi. And so the rest of this episode, we're going to talk about why that is and why we've kind of, at least myself, and I'm assuming Jay has too, but sort of transitioned a little bit into becoming speculation plus maxis in two forms of reasons. One, actually in airdrops, which I've always hated. We've always tripped them hard. But I think there's a certain way that this might make sense, which I'm going to explain in this episode. And then, of course, we'll just talk about building an app and how all that works and what I just explained and why I think that's going to become a bigger thing. So we'll cover both of those. But Jay, before we do that, we got to take a quick second to hear from our sponsor.
Modern newsletters are built on Paragraph. That's right. Paragraph is a brand new newsletter platform that combines the best parts of Web 2 and Web 3 to supercharge newsletters for both writers and readers. Build a community, not just an audience. Paragraph uses blockchain tech to allow readers to collect and own the words that matter to them. This takes reading a newsletter to the next level. With Paragraph, readers can mint, collect, and show off quotes from their favorite newsletters. This opens new possibilities like creators sharing revenue with fans. I also love their new feature, Paragraph AI. This integrates GPT-4 natively in Paragraph to create, edit, and improve your writing effortlessly with one click. And guess what? We at Web3 Academy are on board and have already moved our content over to Paragraph. We believe this is the future of newsletters because of the profound engagement it creates between creators and fans. So, whether you're a creator, writer, or an avid reader, it's time to check out Paragraph and capitalize on the opportunity of being early. Welcome back. Ironic that we're talking about Speculation Plus, and one of the reasons why we moved our newsletter on chain to Paragraph, who you just heard about, is because we can now allow people to collect our newsletter. Now, right now, collecting our newsletter is free, but in the coming weeks, we're actually doing something, and actually in the next week, we are launching something new where you're going to be able to speculate on our newsletter. So it's Speculation Plus as well. We're not going to, I'm just going to tease you with that right now. Okay, Speculation Plus. Kai, before we jump into airdrop farming and really what Speculation Plus allows and why we think it's such a great growth tactic for builders and for apps, let's just talk about the state of speculation within the world, basically, and within our culture and society. We believe that speculation is becoming more mainstream. Why is speculation becoming more mainstream?
Yeah, I was thinking about this recently, and, especially before the internet, the only people that really speculated, and I mean, typically on like stocks and things, were highly educated people in Western countries that had access to, buying stocks. And then there was like some sports betting and maybe if you went to Vegas, of course. But again, these were adults, right? And really over the last, let's say 20 years, I would say apps that allow us to do sports betting has brought in a younger crowd that now do a lot of speculating on things like Proline and fantasy football and fantasy everything. Like betting has really brought a lot of like younger adults, let's say, into it. I would say
it's also reached a much wider audience because, as you said, and this is what crypto we keep talking about people. Is on anything that is going to be on chain can reach anybody in the world, right? Yeah. So, and online did the same thing, right? That was the first thing that reached a way bigger audience before you had to go to Vegas to bet. Now you can do so from your couch.
You should do it anywhere. Exactly. So there's that. Then and so it moved out of just the finance world, but then there's also the finance world grew massively, especially post-COVID. But even before that, with things like Robinhood and other apps that just make it easier to buy. And so that was a big one. Then the other thing, if you start to think of like kids inside games, they are getting, familiar with buying things, currencies, and different currencies outside of just like our typical fiat currencies, really, really early age. Like I'm talking under 10 years old, and about buying things inside of games and different currencies and earning them, etc. And while they're not tokens per se, like that are on chain, some of them do change in value. And also you can buy, win, and trade different skins inside of games. Now, again, they're not MTs, you don't own them, but games have their own marketplaces inside that can allow you to do this. So like kids are making money inside of games at, below the age of 10. And like that just wasn't a thing 20 years ago. I mean, it wasn't a thing 10 years ago, probably, right? So I feel like we are coming into this world where finance is becoming more normal inside of a lot of people's homes at a younger age. Then you have betting becoming, and gambling and stuff becoming more normal for people in terms of sports and stuff. And then you have games, which is it's gamified betting, essentially, a lot of this stuff. And there's so many people in gaming that so many of them are getting exposed to this. And so it feels like speculation is becoming a bigger part of society, I guess.
We're learning about speculation, maybe without speculating in the traditional way of, buying an asset and then looking to sell that asset for gain, right?
Well, there's also entrepreneurialism is becoming so much bigger now because of the internet, which again, that's speculating. You're speculating either on your own business, maybe you're speculating on a friend's business by giving them some money, or a family member's business. Like the number of people who start businesses now versus 20 years ago is just not even, like, the numbers are incomparable. So there's also that side of things too.
Yeah. And where this is leading is it's making speculation more accepted, but it's also making speculation in itself a utility, basically. In itself is fun. It is valuable, right? People enjoy doing things where there is the opportunity to receive additional gain, even if it's not financial gain, as you said, even if it's just like a point system within a game or something that doesn't have financial attached to it. That feeling is fun, like fun and entertainment, almost like speculation. Yeah.
Think about how much time people put into their fantasy football teams. They do homework and research, and that's all for speculation. You're all just speculating on players that they're going to do well and that your team's better than others. So like people put a lot of time and effort into speculation.
Well, and that's a great example too, because one of the unique things about fantasy sports, and I'm not a big gamer, but I used to play a lot of fantasy sports, and I'll bet you gaming is sort of similar, is there is a lot of these fantasy sports leagues are multi-year, and a lot of gaming, I think, is like that too. So there is this feeling of like, oh, I was there early in fantasy sports. It's like I drafted that rookie young, right? I think that this also always comes up for me in one of the reasons why I think music and blockchain is so cool is I want to be able to prove that I went to the concert before anyone else did and be able to say that like I discovered that. And we all like that feeling of being early, but right now being early doesn't get you a reward necessarily. Right. But with blockchain, it can. So we know that speculation is becoming more mainstream. We see speculation as a utility in its own. It's fun. It's entertainment. People really take value from it. They feel good about it. They enjoy it.
Is that a thing for the economy, actually? For people, just thinking about that, I was like, okay, speculation's gonna be more mainstream. That's great, but like, is that good?
I mean, for the economy, it's just
for the economy, it's good.
Economy, it's great.
More for people, but
it's pushing money around, which is what the economy needs.
True.
Okay, let's talk about what are the ways an app or a builder can use speculation in order to grow users and use it as a growth strategy.
There's many ways. I mean, so the Friendtech example is the easiest one, right? Think of just like any product that you buy now has the ability to have speculation turned on. You buy our premium newsletter, right? Now, we don't have this set up yet, but let's say that you buy our premium newsletter. It's a membership. You would never think that that's a speculative thing. You just pay $18 a month or whatever it is. I don't even know what we charge, but somewhere around there probably. Yeah. Or like your Netflix account is $15, $16 a month. You would never expect there to be speculation around that, but you could turn that on, right? If those memberships were NFTs, which we back our memberships as NFTs, but if the membership itself was an NFT, that membership could be speculative. And we could put out memberships at $15, some at $18, have scarce amounts of each. And people can speculate on those too, right? So there's you could do anything, right? Again, with the Twitter accounts, how you have like the paywalled Twitter accounts, those could end up being something that you buy once and then you could speculate on. You could sell them to other people, right? And everything can be this way. I mean, tickets already are quite speculative, but they become even more so, like tickets to concerts and things. So like you could think of it with games. Of course, games can be, any sort of game can have speculative things in it now, whether it's, speculative assets, speculative currencies, etc. But when I think of what you just talked about of like being early into something, right? This was something that everyone loved to do with musicians, with, I don't know, lots of different things, like sporting cards, things like that. These are all things that now allow you to not just prove that you were early, but then speculate on it and potentially win something. And so there's just different, I don't know what the word is, but different features and utilities that we can put into any app that we currently use with the ability to add speculation around it. So I don't know. There's just so many things that I mean,
a really good way to think, a couple good ways to think about it. One good way to think about it is you're just gamifying it.
Right. Exactly. Gamifying.
That's probably the simplest way to think.
That is a good one
about it. Except right now, when most things are gamified in Web 2, you don't actually get anything. You get like, I don't know, a badge that's worthless, or you get points that are worthless. But they probably have value to you because they have sentimental value, or like you want to flex and show off to your friends who also play that game, whatever, right? You cannot then go trade that in an open market. You can't go sell that to somebody else. So that's one way to think about it. I think the other way to think about it, or another example of where we are seeing speculation plus, is, so you use the example of, NFTs, like basically the whole initial, I hate to say NFTs like this because it categorizes NFTs in a very incorrect way, but the way that most of the world thinks about NFTs, which are basically JPEGs, like pieces of art, that whole initial movement was businesses selling art, cartoon characters for speculation. You didn't even get anything from most of those in the beginning, right? Like, you think about Bored Ape Yacht Club, literally the roadmap was like one image that was like a cartoon map that was kind of a joke, right? Yeah. And then eventually, so they took that speculation, they made a whole bunch of money, and then they started doing Ape Fest, and so you had events which you could attend, which have value to them, right? You have a Discord and a community and all of these things you can get into.
The other thing is rewards, right? Like your air miles and things like that. So you have, I mean, we talked about Blackbird on the roll-up last week, but also there's like a speculative nature to rewards now, because originally, like you get air miles, you get credit card points, and they don't go up or down. They don't become worth more or worth less. So you just like, you pay for things whenever you want to pay for things. But now that they're on an open market, it's like, well, is it worth more? Like if it happens to go up, you're like, well, maybe I want to buy my thing now, or I want to sell it in the USDC now. And it's like, it becomes a little bit more gamified and more fun. These tokens, these rewards, these credits, whatever, there's a little bit more to it. They become a little bit more complex, which adds a layer of fun to it. Potentially. It also could add a layer of people getting wrecked, which is another problem, but is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like we could do another show about how speculation is bad, but in this episode, speculation is good because it is a good growth strategy, because I think what we're really identifying is, and Friendtech is the best example of this, right, is you can launch an app which has very basic utility and almost like a bad user experience, not a great app. But if you have speculation, you can get a lot of attention and a lot of energy behind it, because as we have said, we keep saying over and over again, people want to speculate. Like, people like to do it. It is something that people have fun doing.
It is a good growth tool. So like Friendtech is a cool thing. I mean, token gating or like paywalling chats, of course, that's a big thing. Everyone does that already, right? So like, it's a thing. But the reason why Friendtech was so successful is you add the speculative nature to it, and it brings attention right away. It brings users right away because there's people that want, like, the early opportunists. It brings liquidity, which that liquidity means that creators want to come and use Friendtech versus whatever else is out there, because they know they can make a bit of money on people speculating on their keys, right? If it doesn't have that, then people are less likely to use that other app, whatever that is. But the fact that they could make money just on people speculating on them, even though they're not speculating, it adds a whole different business model and just, like, I don't know, a way to think about it. It's quite interesting.
This concept of being early is actually a really important part of speculation. Plus, let me give you another example is the largest hip hop festival in the world. What's it called?
Oh man,
and
I forget the name.
We've talked about this on the show, like probably a year ago.
Yeah,
they dropped a 10,000 NFT collection that was a lifetime ticket to their festival. So for the rest of your life, you can go every single year. Not only can you go every year, you got it. Which one is it?
Rolling Loud. Rolling Loud Festival?
Rolling Loud. That's it. Yeah, Rolling Loud. So not only can you go every year, you could go to different, they have like concerts or festivals all around the world. You could go to different locations, right? So that is an example of they sold this as a lifetime pass. And really what people were betting on there was being early is going to matter, because you're betting that Rolling Loud as a business is going to continue to be successful, that their festivals are going to increase in demand. They're going to do more around the world. That's a bet on being early. And if you're right, then your lifetime
more access, right? Because
worth more valuable. Yeah.
Right. It's not just about equity. It's about betting in to get access. It's about betting in to get better reputation. It's about betting a bunch of different things, right? And that's cool. That's very interesting. There's one other form of speculation that comes, and I think we're all familiar with it, which is airdrops, right? Now, Jay and I typically not always, normally are against the way that most people do airdrops in terms of like flaunting, like, hey, we're doing an airdrop, come airdrop farm to get volume, like Blur. Jay and I have always been against what Blur has done for multiple reasons. I mean, Blur has made no money doing this. They've just completely ruined good businesses like OpenSea and others. And it has brought a bunch of people over literally to do nothing but farm this token. And then people who have the token already or who get the token literally just inflates it. And so the token has done terribly, right? So it's a pretty shitty way for everyone to do that type of airdrop. So I don't like that. There are other airdrops that are important, which are to decentralize and to do this the right way and to reward your users and to reward your like developers, and like the way Arbitrum and Optimism have done it. These are smart airdrops. You're rewarding the key DAOs and people building on your ecosystem so that you can fund them to build more. Okay, that's very, very smart. The way that Blur did it was like just trying to steal users and doing it in a way that just basically gave value to almost nobody. So I think that's stupid. What's interesting about Friend.tech's way of their airdrop, which remember, this is a speculative nature. A lot of people are using Friend.tech, not just because of the fun and thing that we were just talking about, but also because they want to make some money on this airdrop. But the way that Friend.tech did this is actually really smart. And so for those that are building apps, pay attention to this. Blur did it where you can airdrop farm, but the Blur themselves made no money. So kind of not the smartest idea. Friend.tech, if you want to farm their airdrop, they make money every time that you try to farm. Friend.tech has made something like, I don't know what it's at now, 30 million? It could be more than that. Jay, have you looked recently? It's somewhere in the tens of millions of dollars in like 2 months. It's actually insane what they've done. And the reason why I think this is smart is, one, it's more of a controlled airdrop farming, because the only way that people can really airdrop farm is they have to also make money in the speculations that they're doing inside the game. Otherwise, they're just pissing out 5% or 10% of every transaction they make to creators and to Friend.tech, right? So like, if you're going to airdrop farm, you have to be quite smart about it. If you're airdrop farming and you're not, there's other people at least the other side making money in terms of creators that are on Friend.tech are making money, and Friend.tech itself is making money, which the reason why that's great is they've built a strong, sound business, right? And even if Friend.tech in the way it exists today doesn't work out, they've made $30 million. What did that do? That allowed them to get a raise from, I forget who, Paradigm. Yeah, so they've got extra capital there. Plus, they've made $30 million, so they can hire. So they've made $18 million as of October 2nd. I don't have a chart here, but you're not far off. Yeah, right. And so they've used speculation of this airdrop to generate a shit ton of revenue, and now they can make a better application as a result of it. And people are having fun playing on Friend.tech. It's kind of been a win-win for everyone, whereas Blur was the complete opposite. It was almost a lose for everyone, except I actually don't know who won. Someone has to win, right? There's always someone on the other side. I think he's lost money. Someone must have won something.
Blur wins long-term because I don't think they're going to disappear. Like, they still have 50% of the NFT trading volume, right? And their plan is I'm not up to date on Blur and their plans, but I know that they're planning to introduce a trading.
They get to learn a lot about their app and stuff by getting a lot of users on it, and a lot of activity. So fine. But okay, so one team benefited from it. That's it. Whereas Friend.tech, it's like everyone's kind of benefiting, which is kind of cool. And so like when this airdrop comes, it's going to be pretty fun. I have no idea how much money everyone's going to make from it. Doesn't really matter. The key thing is that they're actually generating a real business from this and a real revenue stream that can then allow them to build whatever comes next. And I think that's just so smart. So if you're going to do an airdrop, I think the way that Friend.tech has done this is pretty genius.
Mm-hmm. Okay, before we wrap, I've got to ask, is speculation a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think what we're saying is if you're a founder or a builder that's building an app, Speculation Plus is an incredible growth tactic, growth strategy. If you lean into it, you can grow much faster than the traditional ways because you are going to get a lot of energy because speculation is fun and people want to make money. Everyone's looking for the next get rich. But there's the dangers of it because a lot of people get wrecked when you have speculation. Friend.tech being the great example, there is going to be more losers than winners on Friend.tech. Usually that's the way it goes. Usually there's a few people who make a lot and then a lot of people who lose a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if the utility is good enough, then just because you lost, I don't know, $100 on a key for whatever, if you actually got a lot of fun in that chat, then that's fine, right? Like in the Web2 world, you were going to lose $100 anyway, if that's what it cost, right? And so like, I think if the key thing is speculation by itself, no good. Not a big fan of that, right? I think that's when people are going to lose, like with Pepe and basically most of the meme coins. But when it's utility first, speculation after, speculation to amplify whatever that utility is, I actually think it's pretty cool. And I think a lot of good can come from it. Yes, people are going to lose money. I don't know. I was going to say I don't think everyone's in it for money, but like I'm pretty sure most people are in Friend.tech for money. But I think we need to think beyond just Friend.tech. And I think there's going to be many other apps and things that are going to have Speculation Plus. And I think, yeah, sure, people are always going to lose money in those things, but I don't think that's going to matter as long as they got really good utility from it. So I don't know where that balance sits. It's going to be really hard to figure out. But I think Friend.tech is the first one of the first iterations on this. And so we'll see, but I think it's a big game for everyone, right? Even like you think of like Pudgy Penguins, right? That was the craziest speculative thing ever where with that whole story, you wrote a pro report on it and it now is working out for everyone, right? And it's like, well, that was fun. People probably lost in other ways, but they liked that one. So it's like, they'll probably stick around, right?
The funny thing about that story is there's a quote from Luca Netz saying that when they closed the deal and he bought Pudgy for $2.5 million, he was like, I would have paid $10 million for it. He said he thought it was worth way more. And the main reason being at that time, Pudgy had made $6 million in the last 12 months off of royalties. Right. So he was like, I'm paying $2.5 million for something that made $6 million in revenue in the last year. Now, we all know now, fast forward, royalties have gone to zero basically. So that revenue might no longer exist. But he was fully willing to pay more. And I think you're right. Like, in the end, if you listen to this podcast, you're a speculator, right? Like you're a risk taker, you're a builder, whether you're investing in crypto and Web3, whether you're trying to get a job in crypto Web3, whether you're building a company in crypto Web3, you're speculating in some way. And I think that this is something we all need to, kind of wrap our heads around and consider how you can use speculation plus utility together, because I think it can lead to, it's like an amplification or like rocket fuel on an already great idea or great app.
And while I used to think that speculation was very niche, I think as long as there's utility with some speculation on top of that, I think a lot of people are going to be down with that. I think, again, if it's only speculation, there's not a lot of people that are in. They're like, I don't get it. I don't care about it. But if you can make it a game, if you can use it for other means, then I think people are going to be like, wait, so I can get the product that I already buy and then I might be able to make money off of it. That's going to onboard a lot of people into the on-chain world, which is weird for me to say because I've always said I hate the gambling aspect of crypto. And now I'm like, you know what? That's probably going to onboard a shit ton of people. But it kind of makes sense. It's just the way the world's going with everything moving online. And just like, I don't know, the world seems to be more speculative these days on a lot of different areas. So
we got to find a clip of one of the early podcasts from a few years ago of Kai just slamming speculation and everyone betting in this space and put it next to this new clip. Hey, look at us. Even we change, even we grow. That's a wrap. Thanks so much for listening in, everybody. Appreciate you all. Have yourselves a great week. Oh, couple quick CTAs. If you are a writer we're looking to hire right now, check out a link in the show notes. We want to build and continue to grow our team because we're prepping for the bull market. It's coming at some point. We don't know when, but it's coming. So
we're speculating.
We are definitely speculating. I think it's going to pay off for us. So yeah, we'd love to have you join our team. If you're a writer, you're passionate about the space, check out the job application in the show notes. Have yourselves a great week, everybody. Go speculate.
Thank you for listening to Web3 Academy, your one trusted source to capitalize on the next big phase of the internet. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it and subscribe or follow so that you don't miss the next one. While you're at it, there's a link in the description for our free newsletter where we provide timely and relevant Web3 insights so you can confidently build and invest in Web3. Make sure to subscribe today. One final note. This podcast is for educational purposes only, and nothing we say is financial advice. Crypto and Web3 are risky, and you should never invest more than you're willing to lose. Thank you, friends, and see you in the next one.